have been changed by the gospel. In 2003, by the gospel in 2003 through AIA, Connor went on to set multiple school football records at UVA, including most career points. Though extremely successful on the field, he served only a brief stint in the NFL preseason and in the off-season with the Saints, the Steelers, and the Cowboys. So he also played seasons with the Rhine Fire in the NFL Europe League and the Arena Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Soul. And so, would you make Connor Hughes welcome as he comes forward and share the gospel with us?
Hello, how are you guys doing tonight? Well, I just wanted to say thank you for having me. I'm going to share a little bit about my story, my life, and hopefully it's encouraging to you. Hopefully it makes some sense. But the question I wanted to ask today is really this. I'm going to try to hit this for the most part is, who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? See, when I was 4, I was sitting on the edge of a pool, and I was just minding my own business during, Adult Swim, when all of a sudden, I had orange soda poured on my head from a little boy because the colors matched. I had like orangish hair, and so he just dumped it right on me. Thought that was funny. Joke's on him, now I don't have any hair, right? So a few years later, I'm sitting with the same boy behind his house, and he's like, hey, Connor, I got this great idea. I've got this rock, you get a rock, let's go throw it at my mom's car. I was like, okay. And so he said, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And I slung that rock at her car, but he didn't throw the rock. And I smashed the windshield of his car. Not good. Well, when I was in kindergarten, there was a boy that walked into my classroom that was a darker complexion than I was. And one of my friends told me, we don't like those kinds of people. See, bad advice can come from your friends. Bad advice can come from your friends, but not just from your friends. I've also given some pretty bad advice in my life. When I was young, we had a deck off the back of our house. It was a long deck about 2 feet high. And so what we would do when it got real cold enough to freeze, we got the hose out. And we would spray down that deck so that it would freeze over. And we'd run and we'd slide on the deck, or we'd play all sorts of games on it. Well, my parents knew we did that, but they didn't mind for the most part. One day, my mom and my dad were leaving the house. They said, all right, we're leaving. We know it's cold. Don't ice down the deck. Like, that's not cool, especially when it's not around. Just promise me, whatever you do, don't ice down the deck. And of course, we said, yes, ma'am, we promise. And right when that car got out of the driveway, we went to the hose, and we just covered that thing. We covered it all up. We got it nice and icy. And so my brother was 2.5 years younger than me. He was the accident prone of our family. And so he was getting up after sliding one time, and we might have been playing human bowling. I can't remember which it was. But he got up, and he fell and smacked his nose straight on the deck. So me and my friend, actually same friend, it's a current theme we see in these stories. But we looked and we were like, oh, let me evaluate this. And being the doctors we were when we were 10 years old, we were like, man, it's just a little bit of blood. Please don't tell mom. Don't tell mom. It's not a big deal. We won't do it anymore. Let's just not tell mom. And so 2 things about my brother that stand out to me is that he is a very loyal brother, and he listens to what I say, which isn't always to his benefit. And so he didn't tell my mom. 2 days later, my mom was sitting down in the living room. I was kind of within earshot. My brother walked up, and my brother's like, Mom, my nose, it really, really hurts. And I think I broke it. And my mom was like, well, Brock, I think my brother's name is Brock. Well, Brock, like, your nose looks kind of bad. Like, but noses, they don't just like break out of nowhere. So you can't just break your nose. And so I just covered in guilt. I was like, Mom, I gotta fess up. I gotta tell you what's going on. And so I confessed, in my brother's nose, he still has a broken septum to this day. See, bad advice can be really costly. Bad advice can really hurt. And bad advice doesn't just come from kids either, right? I remember when I was in elementary school, my last story before I really get going here, I was sitting in a gym carpet, and we had a speaker come in. He said a lot of things. I was picking up my shoe or doing something, whatever I did at the time. And the only thing I remember him saying is, "You will not be a professional athlete. Find something else to do." But the worst advice I've ever heard is this. The worst advice is, you are who you are because of how you are on the field. You are who you are because of who you are on the classroom, or because your friends say so. See, growing up, I played every sport there was imaginable, and I was a pretty good athlete. So I figured, oh, maybe I'm an athlete. I want to be an athlete. That just makes sense. And so I remember thinking, man, if I'm an athlete, that gives me value. That makes me important. That's good. And so I remember winning a soccer tournament when I was like 12 years old, and I walked into a state soccer tournament, walked into a restaurant, completely not even in the same city, and I was like, I wonder if this waiter knows like who I am. Like, big deal. I just won a state soccer tournament. Because we all think we're the center of the universe. That's just how we think. And the lie that I was listening to, I was listening to the world, and the world said, you have to win to be great. You have to win to be worth anything. But when you win, you will be great. And for that reason, when I grew up, I was deathly afraid of failure. I was in turn afraid of girls, which was probably a good thing for me. But I was even afraid of calling Domino's to order pizza for my family, because I thought I'd mess it up. Like, I didn't want to play board games because I thought if I lost, I'd be like less than. And so it really was confining to me. Fast forward to high school. In high school, I got to play a bunch of sports. I was all state in 2 different sports, soccer and football, for 2 different years each. In my senior year, I won the state championship game as a quarterback, punter, and kicker. And I thought, this is probably it. This is probably where I'll feel satisfied and fulfilled. And it wasn't. I remember leaving that game thinking, it's just another day. But maybe if I go higher. So I accepted coming here to UVA to play football. As a walk-on, I earned a scholarship after my first year, and I started playing. I started actually that year. And it was the same lie. If you succeed, you'll be happy. But it wasn't true. Instead, the thing I find that's most interesting is it was my sophomore year, my next year, that I stumbled on something very important. That's when I found joy. You see, joy didn't come in the title of a championship. It didn't come in an MVP. It didn't come in any of that. Joy came in a very interesting form. The man sat down next to me. He worked for Athletes in Action. And he started asking me some really kind of personal questions. Like, he warmed me up a little bit, but he asked me some personal questions. He got to this heavy one, and he said, you know, if you died right now, I know this is crazy, but if you died right now, where do you think you'd go, man? And so, like, when I get uncomfortable, I usually make a joke or try to do something funny, so I probably did that, and it didn't work well. But then I was faced with, I still had to answer the question. And so my answer was, well, yeah, I grew up in Williamsburg, Virginia, where a lot of people would say they're Christians, and so, like, I think I'd go to heaven. And, you know, why? They kind of said, why do you think? And I was, well, you know, when I was growing up, even till now, I didn't really drink, I didn't do drugs, I didn't party. I didn't even really cuss. So if I don't go to heaven, like, who's there? I thought that I had to be good enough to earn heaven. And I thought that I could earn or be good enough for God. And so some people in here, including myself, we may still think that same way. But he smiled at me and kind of chuckled. And then he shared this verse with me that really changed my perspective. It made a lot of sense. I'm going to share with you here. You've probably heard it before. It's Ephesians 2:8-9. It says, by grace you have been saved through faith, not of your own doing. And so another way to say it is not of your own works. It is a gift from God that we shouldn't be boasting. And so for me, it made a lot of sense. See, I'd done some other religion hunting. I realized that all religions basically said that you can do good things to get to nirvana or to enlightenment or to even gain God's favor. You can do certain good things. But the Bible actually says, if you read in Isaiah, it says that your good works are filthy rags. And it's not like just a towel you drag through the mud. This is like nasty rag that was used for like human bodily fluid rag, like ooh, nasty rag, right? So that's our good works before God. And so like I said, it made sense to me that whenever the religion said you could attain, you could do something good enough to get to God, Well, that must not be that great of a God. But the God of the Bible is this big God. It's this awesome God. He's the God that created this world. He's stretched out the solar system. We actually know it's still stretching. He told the waves to come up this far and no further. He created you, each one of you. That's how great our God is. To me, it didn't make logical sense to say that if our God is that great, I can do something to earn his approval. It just didn't make logical sense to me. And so that changed my perspective. It changed my perspective a great deal. See, the Bible explains that, we aren't good enough to get to God, but God, in his goodness, in his love, comes down for us. And he does that through sending his son, Jesus. The Bible says that God actually created you to know you, for you to know him, to love him, so that he would actually love you. He created you for this relationship. But instead of finding life, instead of finding joy in God, we run to a lot of other things. I've run to a lot of other things. Just like I told you a little bit about my stories earlier. But we just can't find life in things that weren't designed to give us life. And so, ever wonder why you struggle with perfection? It's because God created you to be perfect and have a perfect life. And if you're not perfect, like you don't add up. Well, Jesus did. And so when you're struggling with anxiety or shame or guilt, it's because you're realizing you can't live the perfect life that you were designed to live. And that's hard. But see, God sent his son to live a perfect life because we can't live it. That's what we owed to God for his creating us. And then Jesus dies. But why does he have to die? Like, why would Jesus have to die? Jesus has to die because the whole Bible points to this fact that the wage, what we deserve for not doing the right thing, not listening to mommy and daddy, anything that we've done wrong, our imperfection it's called a wage. We owe God death. And so Jesus, it's very important that Jesus comes to live the perfect life that we couldn't live, and then to die the death that we deserved. He dies in our place to take away our sin and our death, yes, but he also, did you know, he also bears our guilt and our shame too. We weren't created to bear that. You weren't created to bear your sin, your shame, or even your guilt. He is. But what happens if Jesus never comes back to life? We believe in another dead guy. There's no Christianity without the resurrection. Jesus comes back to life, and when he does, it means that he is who he says he is. He's the Lord of life. He has power over sin and death. And that means something very significant to us. It means that we no longer owe our death, that his life is credited to us as perfection, and that his resurrection raises us to new life with God. And that's freedom. That is freedom. I know that I'm loved by God, not because of anything I've done, but because of who he says I am. And what does that matter to my sport? So I just said all that just to kind of get to you about my sport. That matters to my sport because often I believe that I had to earn my worth or my value by kicking field goals, by scoring touchdowns, by doing whatever. We all believe these different lies that who we are on the field, who we are in the classroom, who we are at our job, dictates how valuable we are as a person. Let me put it like this. I have a 10-month-old son, Trip. Trip's back there. Trip, he can't see you if you try to wave to him right now. But Trip is 10 months old. When he was 6 months, I loved this child. And I loved him before he was 6 months. But let's just humor me. 6 months, I loved him. What had Trip done for me? Trip had spit up on me. He had peed on me. He had pooped on me. He took all my money paying for his diapers. And then he made me wake up at all crazy hours of the night. He didn't really earn my love, did he? What did he do to earn my love? He did nothing. Trip did nothing to earn my love. I love Trip because he is mine. I love my Paxton, Haddon, there's my other two boys and Trip. I love them because they're mine. They're each different, but they're each mine. And I love them because they are mine. God loves me because I am his, not because I can kick field goals. And that's very important. That's it. I mean, This is the freedom that you get when you know the Savior that loves you despite your failures and despite your successes. That's the freedom you get. My identity when I stepped on the football field wasn't if I'm going to make a field goal or if I'm going to miss it. When I went to the classroom, it didn't matter if I got an A or not. If I tried hard, that's good. Like God loves our effort. It didn't depend on how much money I made. My identity was in the fact that God loves me and approves of me. And my identity was that I am who God says I am. I'm worthy and I'm loved because of what Jesus did for me. People ask me a lot as a kicker, they're like, so like, how do you deal with all like the pressure and stuff? Like the kicks at the end of the game, people are like watching you. And I was like, it's the gospel. That's all I got for you. It's not a secret, it's the gospel. It's the good news that I am loved and saved by a God, not because of my works, but entirely because He loves me. That's the secret. That's why I can kick under pressures, because I know that if I miss the field goal, it doesn't make me less of a human being. My secret is in knowing God, loving God, and listening to God. That gave me freedom to compete, and it gave me freedom to fail. It gave me freedom to fail. James Baldwin says that the most dangerous creation in all society is the man who has nothing to lose. Another guy with a crazy name, you're going to love this, Balthazar Gracian. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's a fun name. He said, never contend with a man who has nothing to lose. I had nothing to lose in the field. I had nothing to lose because I was secure in God and who God said I was. And so the result of speaking this truth to my soul daily, listening to God and not listening to the world, was this, a little bit of what he shared at the beginning. And this is not the part that I really enjoy, but I'm gonna go down this part anyways. When I graduated, I was the third most accurate field goal kicker in NCAA history. I had scored more points than anybody that had worn a UVA football uniform, and I never missed a field goal in the fourth quarter in a bowl game. But before you think that I'm boasting, I want you to remember, I was greatly changed my sophomore year. My whole perspective changed my sophomore year. I wouldn't have had the resolve I had I not depended on Christ when I played football. And I'm not saying that if you depend on Jesus, you're going to do some 360 tomahawk dunk from a free throw line or anything crazy. But what I'm saying is, when you trust in Jesus and you commit your life to Him and you know your identity is within Him and not what you do, you're loved despite what you do, it frees you. And freed people are dangerous people on a basketball. So let me close out just by sharing this. Parents, I'm a parent and I'm not a perfect dad, but I have freedom because I'm forgiven. And I have to experience that forgiveness probably daily with my kids. You might be there with me. You might be there with me. And my kids, they may not be LeBron James or Michael Jordan, but that doesn't make me any less. It doesn't make them any less my son. I still love them. So kids, if you aren't the fastest, if you aren't the tallest, the best looking, the most popular, if you even get bullied, there's one person you can go and you can look to and you can listen to, and that is God. And God created you exactly how He wanted you. He created you exactly with the talents that you have, with the abilities that you have to reveal His glory and power in unique ways that nobody else can do. So don't listen to that stuff. Don't listen to that stuff. And parents, you're not perfect parents. I'm not a perfect parent. Stop beating yourself up. I do it all the time too. Run to God. Run to God for forgiveness and freedom. You don't just have to play football with freedom. You can parent with freedom too. My question is this. Do you know Him? Do you love Him? Will you listen to Him? Or do you know Him? Do you love yourself and do you listen to other people? You see, sports are a great training ground. When you have a good coach, you can listen to him. And because you trust your coach is good, you can go do what he says, right? Well, God is a loving God. When I talk to my kids, I say, Paxton, hi. You know Daddy loves you, right? You know I love him. And they're like, yeah, I know you love me, Daddy. I'm like, don't put the scissors in the outlet, man. You're going to fry. Don't do it. Right? But then there's the other side of it. Buddy, do you love Daddy? If you love me, show me you love me by doing what I'm asking you to do. See, Jesus says the same thing in John 14. He says, if you love me, keep my commandments. If you love me, keep my commandments. So who are you listening to? We have a loving God who calls you a loving God, not to do great things, but just to love him, experience his freedom and forgiveness. Listen to God. He loves you better than you love yourself. He knows what's better for you than you know. Trust me, he does. But show him your love by doing it. You won't earn anything from doing it. He won't love you anymore than he already does right now. But you also won't make him love you any less by anything you do. Do you know God? Do you love him? And are you listening to him? I did. And I've experienced freedom and love and forgiveness that has allowed me to do things that I could have never understood or been frightened of doing in the past. So I encourage you to do the same. Know God, love him, and listen to him. Thank you.